Come on, bitch, let's go. Come on, get ready, bitches. You haven't seen nothing yet. Come on.
Valentino, Versace, Lamborghini, Bugatti. I got money to burn. I'm single and I'm naughty.
Come on.
Tiffany's, Cartier, Gucci, Armani.
Come on.
Break out your black card boys.
So we have so many things I want to comment on that came out this week. I'm literally going to be doing this show over a few days. I think you're going to really enjoy it. Now, in the Patreon, we've covered Richard Simmons in great depth. There was a huge mystery about it. You know, what happened to him? Was he kidnapped? Was the housekeeper bad or good that was taking care of him at the time? Well, I like to finish a story to the end. You know me. Long after everybody else forgets a story, I like keep it going so we really know what happened. There's going to be a few topics like that on today's show where I'm going to tell you the outcome of things that we've done deep dives on and that have come to light this week. But let's start with Richard Simmons because it's easy. We're going to be doing Denise Richards again with, of course, the new abuse allegations that she dropped, requesting a restraining order this week, which you need to go listen to Sunday's podcast last week if you didn't, because I tell you the deep, kind of less known stuff about Aaron Fipers, and a lot of the things that are cited in this court document are mentioned in that show and kind of teased. Anyway, I'm going to tell you more about that later and what you need to pay attention to in that show if you missed it. Okay. There's a whole bunch of things that have gone on this week. Epstein, there's been some breaking news with that I want to tell you about. I mean, it's just a lot. So let's first start with Richard Simmons, okay? So you guys, as I said before, we did a deep dive on Richard Simmons. I came to the conclusion that I wasn't really sure about the relationship between him and his housekeeper, but after researching all the different theories, that it was that he was unhappy that his health was failing and that he wasn't looking good. And he was very vain after he became thin. His vanity was really important to him because he had been obese at a certain period of his life. And then he was inspirational to so many people in losing weight and getting healthy. And he suffers an injury that is not going to let him work out the way he used to. And he just realizes that the Richard Simmons that was the front forward public figure Richard Simmons was kind of gone because of this injury, because of these things. Nobody cared, by the way. Everybody would have loved him, you know, in a wheelchair. But it didn't matter because to him, it was like he didn't want people to remember him that way. And so sure enough, the housekeeper comes out on the show, and Entertainment Tonight does a great piece where they kind of summarize what she says, the highlights of the last, 10 years with Richard Simmons. And they also bring up a receipt from an interview they did where he kind of mirrors what she says. So this mystery, I think, can be put to bed now. Let me play you this clip.
Richard Simmons' confidant and housekeeper for over 3 decades, Teresa Reveles broke her silence, addressing rumors that she had taken him hostage.
No, I think he kidnapped me. He fell in love with me right away. That he says, no, you're never going to leave me.
How would you describe your relationship?
It's really like a brother. He was like my father, my friend, my boyfriend, my everything.
Were you romantic partners?
No, we were very happy. In the last 10 years was the most happy years.
And present. Richard, who was larger than life and a beloved gay icon, stayed private about his sexuality. And while Teresa wouldn't comment on that, she did share with the Today Show these love notes that she says he wrote her every night.
I love kissing you. Good night. I miss you a lot. I love you.
Richard died one day after his 76th birthday from injuries after a fall.
I went to his bedroom and I found him dead. And that was a crazy, sad day.
But you say he died happy.
Oh, very happy.
Did he ever have a romantic partner that you know of?
Me? He never loved anybody like me. Well, he was my lover, not sexually, but he kissed me all the time.
So how did Richard really feel about Teresa? Well, he confirmed their intimate platonic relationship to E.T. during his last interview in 2016.
We're like an old married couple, and I love her and she loves me.
As for what pushed him into hiding,
He was not happy that he was getting old.
I'm a clown, but it's a very hard job.
He says, no, I want people to remember me the way I was, full of life.
Now, we did get a hint from Jane Fonda when Richard Simmons died, and that was that Jane Fonda had mentioned on her Instagram tribute that she hadn't seen Richard Simmons in a long time, that they had been very good friends, and she mourned the absence of him in her life because when he sort of retreated from the public eye, he also retreated from many of his friends that he socialized with. And Jane Fonda said that the last time she saw him, that he was at the Polo Lounge having lunch with her, and he brought his boyfriend with her, and he was really proud of his boyfriend. So the thing is that there were some hints to this in his very close, intimate circle, but he didn't want to be loud and proud in that way. He didn't want to be defined by his sexuality, which I totally get and I appreciate. And so that's Richard Simmons' update, and I think we can now let him rest in peace. Okay, so let's move on to another continuation, we'll say, of the Denise Richards saga, because okay, I wanted to talk about this with some opinion, if you don't mind, okay? I don't always do that, but in this case, I want to. You know, there were a lot of red flags with Aaron Fibers. Yes, I mentioned last week the squeezing of the hand on the show that got the fans going at the time that it aired on Bravo. You know, he gets mad at Denise Richards as they're leaving a party, and he squeezes her hand really tight, and they catch it in a hot mic moment. Yes, definitely a red flag. But probably the biggest red flag for me, that there was something really wrong with the guy, besides, of course, trying to convince a woman who had cancer that he has some sort of, magical potion to give her of stem cells that's going to get rid of it. And people obviously in those situations and their family members are incredibly vulnerable to any kind of idea that might save their lives, right? But you're really got to stick to the medical professionals. And if you want to supplement it with their guidance with holistic things, well, that's fine too. But you really shouldn't be going off alone on the holistic path without medical guidance. Period. The end. I don't know what else to say. Hate me if you want, but that's my take. Now, I want to say this. When I heard that he had tapes, both audio and video, that Nicolette Sheridan had to get a judge to order him to destroy of her, doing compromising things, whatever those may be, I realized that this guy was pretty damn diabolical, because he intentionally grabbed video and audio tapes, and he was going to use them in some way against her, because it wouldn't have been stated by the judge in such a way in their divorce otherwise. So you have to know the guy's dark if he's intentionally, on a short relationship like that was, trying to get Nicolette Sheridan and catch her in, who knows what kind of compromising situations and blackmail her with it, right? That's just, that's 102 level psycho guy. And I just want to say it for the record that I don't believe Denise Richards' story of how she met Aaron Fibers on the show, because I think she did that whole story so she could talk about on the show his clinic, because Denise Richards was an investor in a sense in his clinic, not directly, but indirectly in supporting Aaron Fibers. So I don't believe for a second that they met because she was going to his clinic for anti-aging stuff and that's how they meet, even though that's how she says it on the show. I think that was really designed to be like a product placement for him. And that was how she knew she could get it on the show and it would make the cut, because she's really good at this. At this point, she's a very famous actress for a long time with extensive media training. You know what I mean? And I don't blame her at all for making up that story to try to promote his business, because like I said, she was economically attached to him at the time and needed his business to take off. I'd say pretty desperately, because, cash was getting tight and he's draining her money based on what we found out in the divorce filings. And he's not really bringing a whole hell of a lot to the table. He's getting his entire identity derived from Denise Richards. Anyway, let's get into this legal filing that just came out where she admits that she's an abused woman by Aaron Fibers in a dramatic way, and that she's been hiding this the whole time so that no one will know. Except Sammy hinted to it last week. As you heard, I played you her soundbite where she pretty much cryptically tells all of us how toxic he is. So I'm now giving you a trigger warning. There's a lot of violence in this filing of this restraining order, which she does win against Aaron Vipers. So if you can't stomach that sort of thing and this kind of detail is going to upset you, then you may want to, get off now or go ahead a few minutes, okay? So here's what she alleges. She says that during their relationship, Aaron Vipers violently choked her, squeezed her head with both hands, tightly squeezed her arms, and violently slapped her in the face and head, aggressively slammed her head into a bathroom towel rack on one instance. Also, in 2022, she received an eye injury, which she documented. Denise claims Aaron severely bruised her eye in an alleged attack from 2022 when they were at his Malibu workplace, his clinic. She alleges he became paranoid that there were potted plants containing listening devices and struck her in the eye with the heel of his palm while calling her a fucking bitch. Then there was another incident where she was going to go on a work trip without Aaron, and he got angry and upset because he thought she was doing something bad. And he grabbed her by the back of her head by the hair and slammed her into the ground and screamed, "You're not canceling my flight. I'm going with you and I do not trust you." Take note, Brandy Glanville, at how dangerous saying someone cheated with you is if it isn't true. And now you might understand a little better why Denise Richards didn't want you saying she cheated with you when you were doing a podcast together on national TV, knowing Aaron Vipers is this type of guy. Because when she got home from shooting the reality TV show, he was probably not too thrilled with her and maybe some bad things happened. Now, on July of 2025, which is the big, trigger point of the breakup finally, where Aaron files for divorce on Denise Richards, he comes in, he obviously thinks something bad has happened because he demands her cell phone and she refuses to give it to him, and he aggressively marches towards her, grabs her arm extremely tight and aggressively, and demands the phone again. But that's not all. He also threatened to kill her and said, especially if she tells the police. She said she'd like to call 911, and he warned her, if you call 911, I'd like to see the cops try to take me away. I'll blow up everything if they try. He also has 8 unregistered guns in his possession, Denise Richards alleges, which is another reason she was really afraid. I know how that feels, Denise, from my psycho ex. Most of the photographic evidence that's provided shows her face bruised, but she also includes some red carpet photos from 2023 that show her arms are all bruised because she forgot to cover them up on the red carpet. Now, they've been given a hearing, although the restraining order has been granted, for August 8th, 2025, and Aaron has to stay at least 100 feet away from Denise Richards. Makes you wonder about that road rage incident that happened with Denise Richards and Aaron Vipers, where somebody suddenly decided to take out a gun and shoot at their car after a road rage incident, and there were like bullet holes in the side of their truck. It was Aaron's truck. I was always wondering, where did the guns come from? Like, how come guns came into the picture of all of that? Well, I would say that either Aaron Vipers was extremely aggressive or maybe pulled out an unregistered gun at some point and the other person retaliated, or maybe, he just threatened guns because he is that guy and he's got a bad temper, But now I look at that incident like that wasn't just some helpless random act, I don't think now. Now, all of this seems to be based in jealousy with Aaron Vipers from what she put in this restraining order. He seems to think she's cheating on him in some way or another. Obviously, we don't know. We'll have to see if that plays out in the court. But something that really bothered me about something she wrote in this restraining order, and that is that he threatened to kill himself and her. Now that is, to someone like me, a big ding, 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 because that is an indicator of an abusive male, because they see women as possessions. They don't see women as people. And because they're possessions, if they can't have them, no one will. And therefore, they will usually kill the woman along with themselves because they know that they're going to be in jail forever. So they don't want to do that either. But they're so obsessed with rage that they're like, I don't care, I'll kill me. Now, sometimes this extends to the children as well, not just the woman. He's like, oh, the children are my belongings too. And if I can't be the father, then no one will be the father. And that's where this stuff gets lethal. And it goes 0 to 60 so fast, you can't even believe it. So I say this to you guys because I want you to know that this is why you got to be so careful when you out someone's cheating on a national program. This is why I didn't out Taylor Armstrong on season 2 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And this, my friends, is why Denise Richards quit Housewives because of Brandi Glanville's thing that she said about Aaron Pfeiffer's back in the day when she quit. Make no mistake about it. And let me tell you something. Take note of this, because if a guy is showing this type of jealousy or intensity, you need to run. And if he begs you to see him again, don't go, because you might end up like an acquaintance of mine's sister, Dorothy Stratton, if you do. So let not these women die in vain. Learn something from it and be vigilant for psychos. All right. So where are we with all this? We got another court date coming. He's trying to destroy Denise Richards' life. As I said, he's now been destroyed in the media. Everybody is aware of what's going on now. He's responded through TMZ, and I'm going to play you all of that and give my commentary in a minute. So this is going to get really ugly. And Denise Richards is going to need to get, hopefully, some security support from Charlie Sheen, I'm hoping, because he does make still a lot of money and maybe he can help her. Now, simultaneously with this horrific incident, it was rumored that Denise Richards, although not coming back to do her show, might consider going back on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills now. And I'm assuming that's because Aaron Vipers is out of the picture, which was the reason that she quit when she quit. So now she might come back. The question is, does Andy Cohen want her back? Does she fit in with these new women or not? With what's going on. Andy has like a weird kind of chip on his shoulder sometimes about bringing people back that leave on their own. So we'll have to see. Remember, Denise Richards did not do Denise Richards and the Wild Things with Andy Cohen. So now I'm going to play you the sound clip that came out yesterday with Aaron Vipers saying his side to the story. And just like I told you guys last Sunday, from what I read in the papers, it appeared that he thought she cheated on him and that he's a ridiculous, over-the-top, jealous man. Okay, now maybe Denise did, but maybe Denise didn't. And the bottom line is you don't beat a chick up because she cheats on you. You leave and you do nothing, and you do the noble thing, which is you put, instead of irreconcilable differences in your document, you have full transparency and you say, I'm leaving her due to infidelity and irreconcilable differences, right? So everybody knows, and maybe even file an affidavit with it to tell your side of the story, knowing that Denise Richards believes you abused her, okay? And has photos like she presented. Jesus, right? Holy moly. Anyway, let's listen to what Aaron Vipers said. He's kind of pulled this before, like I told you, with Nicola Sheridan, as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode. So I did expect this.
Why did you ultimately file for divorce?
Because my wife took my phone. This was July 4th. She came upstairs. She was asking for the credit card. I just ordered Eloise lunch, and she's like, where's my credit card? I'm like, hey, hold on. I'll go get it. Run downstairs. My phone was right next to the bed. I come back upstairs, hand her the credit card. Phone's gone. I'm like, babe, did you see my phone? She's like, no, I haven't seen it. I go, are you sure it was right there? She goes, maybe you dropped it somewhere. I'm like, oh my God, it was right there. So I feel like it was gaslit. So for 20 hours, okay, I'm looking for my phone thinking I lost it. I bring my father over the next day. He's trying to help me find it. We're going through stuff, whatever. Now we're at the townhomes. She's got her studio unit. So I'm looking around with my dad. I'm dumping over things. I'm like, so finally I go, hey, get on my phone. come on, I need it. I have clients trying to call me. I'm trying to work. I'm trying to reset up my office. And she's like, I do not have your phone. The fact that you're even saying this is disgusting. And I'm like, whatever. So I bring my dad over again, and I'm like, look, we've searched everything. There's no way. I know where it was. And she says, get out. And she's hitting me, scratching me, doing stuff. And my dad was there. So I go back into the garage, and I'm looking around, and I just had this sinking feeling that's in one of the garbage bins. Now, I open up the recycling bin. It's blue. And I see this heavy construction black bag. So I open this up, pull the garbage bag out. And I'm like, oh, my God, I feel like it's in here. And I put gloves on, rip it open. The most disgusting, vile trash. You put like cat litter, all the squirrel, peanut shells, and and there's maggots in it. It was just rotting. I'm digging through it, and I find one of our bath towels. It's gray, like charcoal gray, and there's my phone. It's smashed to pieces, unrecognizable, like crumpled. She broke it's gone. And I went over to her and I'm like, you broke my effing phone? Why? Why'd you do that? I did not take your phone or break it. I'm like, who did? Casper? The ghost? So that's like what started it. That was July 4th, actually 5th, when I found the phone, 20 hours after.
How did she get this black eye, or what's your kind of explanation? Because you say you deny all abuse allegations ever.
I did not hit my wife in the face, ever. I grabbed her and restrained her. I grabbed her and restrained her when she was punching Sammy and Mammoth. I took them off. I'm like, guys, stop, break it up. She falls down a lot, and it's embarrassing, and people know it. Upside down jacket, like she gets like her eyes go all red. It's scary.
That specific incident, though, she said, I believe it happened in 2022. The black guy. Yeah. You do know how she got that?
She stumbled and hit a pole with a light on it. I was in my office. I have other people that were there. A good friend of mine just reached out and said, oh my God, I brought her arnica from Turkey to help her. And it just clipped her eye. I mean, the eye is the easiest thing to get a contusion load up, a simple tap. But I've never struck her in the face. I didn't. I'm appalled that she even said that. Look what she's trying to do, man. I've helped people. I've helped people. I'm running around like Harrison Ford. No joke, man. It's not cool. If I go in and I call somebody, hey, they did something with something like pedophile. I'm just using that, and I don't know if it's politically correct anymore. I'm not sure. But if I put that thought, that plant that seed that somebody's doing something, can you imagine? I'm going around and people are like, oh, you're a white beater. You beat up a blonde girl. You see what I'm saying? It's put me in grave danger. She's got ties to different things, man. I don't. I can't do this. She's not changing. She needs help. She's not. I love her. I want her to get help. The fact that she put this thing with me beating her, I'm like devastated. I'm really heartbroken. I didn't want this, and I wanted to work it out, but she's got to get help because it's not for me now. It's for herself and her daughters. And I'm really worried about Eloise. Like, it's not a good situation. So she needs to get help. She's got to get cleaned up and be responsible and own what she's doing, because that's it.
Well, that's one way to keep her off Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, right? Show that she has a drinking and drug problem. That's pretty much the word on the street as to why Taylor Armstrong wasn't hired back for Real Housewives of Orange County mainly, was her drinking was out of control. And especially in the finale, you see that. So this wouldn't be great for casting for Denise, for sure, for Beverly Hills. I think he knows that. Another thing that doesn't stack here is that Sammy said a whole speech about how you should tell your daughter to not stay in toxic relationships with a man and tell the daughter to leave the man. So this doesn't sound like she's got any resentment towards her mother. It sounds like she's trying to protect her mother. And he's making it seem like he was protecting Sammy from Denise. So that doesn't add up to me either.
Because my wife took my phone. This was July 4th.
So in those two clips, we don't hear really him say that she was having an affair, but I guess he told several news outlets, including TMZ, that he discovered text messages and selfies between Denise Richards and another man, including sweet messages like her wishing him sweet dreams and messages indicating they were trying to set up a rendezvous at a hotel where she would try to sneak him into her room. Then he went on and you heard the rest, right? He didn't really really say much more beyond that. I think that this story he's telling is not real. Although super detailed, he has zero credibility with me after the whole cancer thing with that woman. Number two, he allegedly said he was going to ruin Denise Richards. So why is he now wishing only the best for Denise to get some help so she does right by Eloise? That all seems very manipulative. Also, the story makes zero sense. Now, if he was looking for Denise Richards' phone and then he couldn't find it and he was like demanding to see the phone and then he found her phone smashed up in the garbage or something, I could see it. But on his phone? So she's cheating on his phone? Or what was she trying to do? Like ruin his life by smashing up his cell phone? I just don't connect the story at all with the cheating allegation. So it's maybe you guys can tell me how this all went down. I think he wants to hurt Denise Richards in any way he can, and he's trying to make himself look like a good guy. I don't think he's a good guy. I think he's a liar. I'd say Denise Richards doesn't make great choices, but based on her very thoughtful past, like taking care of Charlie Sheen's kids while his wife was in rehab and trying to get Charlie Sheen sober for a while and putting up with his bullshit while he was sleeping with strippers and everything else, trying to get him to come out of his drugs and alcohol infused, terrors he used to go on. And then her love for animals and all this stuff. She's definitely irresponsible, but she doesn't seem like someone who is going to let down her adopted disabled daughter, who she didn't have to adopt. She chose to adopt. And guess what? He didn't go up PCH looking for another rich broad yet. Instead, he went to move in with his dad, who you can see in the background of the TMZ video. So now he's going to mooch off him because God forbid Aaron actually get a job that's real, that isn't snake oil, salesman crap. Go get your hands dirty, buddy. Go work at McDonald's for a day and see what it's like to do real work instead of living off other people. Oh, and did you hear the story? She fell into a lamp, which is how she got a black eye. Now, given you can definitely hit something in your eye and get a really bad black eye, for sure. And he's not wrong about that. But explain to me why she documented it. Why did she document bumping into a lamp? So she could foresee in the future 3 years that she might need to use it against him after putting up with his BS for as many years as she did? I'm not buying that either, right? She wouldn't have documented it if it was a lamp. I just am so insulted that he thinks we're this dumb. Aaron, you're nuts, buddy. I see right through your bullshit. Okay, so we have to talk about Epstein. You guys know I have a robust collection dedicated to Epstein and all evidence and just everything is in there. It's like hundreds of posts of audio and visual and papers, documents that are related to Epstein that I've collected over the last few years. So, of course, I'm as invested as anybody in getting to where is the missing stuff, right? So what is the missing stuff? Because nobody seems to be able to articulate it beyond this imaginary client list. And I'll get into the client list in a minute. Okay, I actually think the client list is meant to distract. How about his bank statements where we see who is paying him money and doing nice things for him with maybe his victims' information redacted? And who's helping put those transfers through to the women that are redacted that are his victims, right? Who is helping that? We know the bank has gotten into a lot of trouble. So let's see all their evidence. And what about the photos of really wealthy guys that were at his parties, that were on his island, his social pictures? How about his cell phone photos? How about videos on his cell phone? How about videos that might have been taken on his security camera footage in his multiple homes that he had? Let's look at that. How about disclosing how many passports he had, if he had more than one? What about disclosing the correspondence between the Florida prosecutor's office in regards to his plea deal that was illegal on the victims that he did in Florida? How about that? We'd love to see those. How did this plea deal happen where they don't show it to the victims, which is illegal? How did that happen? I'd love to know. Now, I know a lot about this and I'm leading you in a direction, of course, but these things would be very helpful. Where are these in the little white binders that were given to, the influencers on the day? Well, I'm not seeing this kind of stuff. And I've grabbed as much of it as I can when I tell you the plain logs, the black book, the photos that were released, which were shocking. And I have some of them in the Patreon, the harder to find ones. And what about Ghislaine Maxwell? How come nobody's talking to her, right? I'm going to get into all this for you guys in a minute because now you know why I think this is a distraction. Oh, and most important, where is the missing minutes and videotape from the prison when he tried to commit suicide the first time and when he succeeded the second? Where did they go? On the night he dies, 1 full minute is missing. From August 9, 2019, between 11:58 and 58 seconds and 12 midnight. Where is that minute? We're never getting that minute, I guess, but it's incredible that that minute is literally missing. That makes no sense. It had to have been edited out. If it was a few seconds, it was a glitch or it was a power surge or something like that. But no, this is a very specific cut of a security footage tape that has been designed to be as unnoticeable as possible, but still there. And the FBI drops as clear as day in the security footage. I'm actually going to post this in the Patreon for you guys to look at, the raw footage. And then there's the hours of missing tape that the prison employees said they accidentally deleted from the night he attempted to commit suicide. I mean, which, if you believe that, I've got a bridge in London to sell you. So between 11 p.m. on July 22nd and 4 a.m. on July 23rd, they mistakenly did not preserve the tape of Epstein's location and landing. Think about that for a second. Now, they blamed people who worked in the prisons, and I did a whole show about what happened to those people, which is another whole thing in this. But what I want you to note is what they said happened was they preserved the wrong tape. So they thought they had the right tape and they preserved it and they had the wrong wing or whatever of the prison. But then the question is, well, where's the one that's the right one? Why didn't you preserve all the tapes for the whole prison for that time period of the first suicide, given the importance of Epstein? Because there definitely had to be an inclination that there could be some sort of wrongdoing or attempted murder on Epstein based on the fact that all these super powerful people, as one theory that was definitely something the prosecutors had to consider was that he was blackmailing people with these audio and visual tapes that he had. So of course he'd be a target in prison besides wanting to kill himself because he's a rich guy in prison. But also it was a very real theory that he might be murdered in prison. So why wouldn't the prosecutor's office be like, why didn't we keep all the prison tapes for that on all wings? Because if someone entered the prison from any location to try to kill him, we would have to see all the tapes from that period, right? I mean, it's just ridiculous. So, okay, we'll take negligence on that one. But I mean, it's really hard to believe with the fact that they were having him on high alert security, high profile prisoner like this, and this kind of mistake happens. So there were people really hoping that existed, right? But we didn't find that stuff out. Now, there was no concept of a client list. There was a black book of Epstein, which they released. There were private logs on Lolita Express of people who flew on his jet, which they released. There were photographs from Epstein's island of many famous people that were with girls on the island, and you can see those clear as day. Stephen Hawkins was one of them, might surprise you. But Epstein also hosted big science events on a neighboring island, which I always thought maybe was his way to find out intellectual property secrets. He would wine and dine these intellectuals, academics, scientists under the guise that he was doing this big think tank that they would all be invited to. And then he would convince some of them to do bad things and get video on them. And then they would do him favors. They'd have to. But, all under the guise that he's supporting science. But I thought, wow, what a brilliant way to also get, the best secrets from the highest intellectuals and tech people. Anyway, that's all kind of laid out in those photos by who he's having on the island. Now, this thing is so secret, I'm about to say to you, I have to bring it in the Patreon now. So we're going in. For the full scoop, join the Dishing Drama Dana Patreon. The link is in this audio description. It's only $6 a month, and you'll get the best information and tea about the things you care about, and even the things you don't know you care about. What are you waiting for?